about Masked Man's manga. For a few months, Masked Man's been talking about how he's making his own manga. The farthest back I can remember him talking about it was in his video with Scamboli. But today, or yesterday night, he finally released the first chapter. The first thing I saw on YouTube was the trailer he made for it. It's pretty cool seeing YouTubers or just anyone inspired by manga to make their own stories. And the only other time I've seen this, at least on YouTube, was Return to Reverie by Ohara, which was basically a fan-made One Piece mini-series for the Reverie arc. It was cool seeing how that shit bring the entire community together to read the chapters. It was drawn by Gemini and they did a really good job of making it feel like a real One Piece chapter. The art and story was really thought out, so I wanted to talk about the first chapter Masked made, and what he did good on or could do better. We have no idea what the story is about yet. A lot of the stuff we saw was left open-ended, like who exactly the knights at the start were, and what's the deal with the main character Isaac, and if he's directly related to them. I think Matt's already mentioned this at some point before the release, but you can feel the Dark Souls inspiration and it feels good. The only Souls game I've played is Elden Ring, but you can feel it a lot with the character designs. The knights at the start gave heavy Dark Souls vibes, and the giant rock monster with the city on his back reminded me of the turtle things in Elden Ring. I've been wanting to play Dark Souls 3, but I don't know about paying full price for the game when it's like 6 years old. I want to play, but my pockets ain't that deep to pay $60 for a 6-year-old game. For the characters in Devoro, it's too early to judge any of them. Isaac is really the only one we've been hinted at for what's really going on with him. But for the rest of the members in the group, they feel like your standard adventure mates. They'll probably develop into something more though. They have some sort of history from what I can tell. Their conversation in the wagon tells us that much about them. But it's way too early to tell what Mass wants to do with their characters. To be honest, I feel like most of them or even all of them will end up dying. Can't really verbalize it, but they feel like prime characters you would kill off in a story. For things I would say Mass can improve on, one of them would be the pacing. Specifically for the time Isaac was in the city. We got a cool ass panel of this huge ass monster that just wanders with a city on its back. And I feel like we just speed on straight to the gold part of it. There was no time spent fleshing the city out, unless we go back to it later on after the quest. But I hope Matt spends more time fleshing out some of the key locations and characters in the story, because that type of location is a cool ass concept. Like maybe some lore on how the city is managing to thrive off its back, or even how they managed to make a functioning city on the monster's back. You could go really deep with that alone if you wanted to. Another thing is that the story kept switching from bubble text to those arrow things. I don't know what you call them. Yeah, I have no clue. Whatever those arrow things are called on your keyboard. I don't know if it's just experimenting, but you should definitely stick to bubble text when the characters are speaking. The arrows were kinda confusing, cause I've never seen a story where that was used to show characters talking. It made the conversations flow less for me, because it threw me off for who was talking in the conversation. The bubble text for verbal speaking is tried and true, so just stick to that. Another thing that can be improved on a lot is the background art. I think it's only 2 people who are working on the project. Masked Man for the story and Muzzle for the art. They got other people to work on stuff like music and the cover, but those 2 are the ones who work on the content itself. I doubt Masked himself will see this, but you should see if you can get a 3rd guy who can do background art to work with Muzzle. For a lot of panels it felt really dead and empty. The opening panel for when Isaac got into the town was really good. It made the town feel really dense and populated. But by the next panel it felt really dead and deserted, because there was no background art for it. For some panels like the night that was sitting alone, it's ideal to not have any background art, because obviously the main focus for that is the knight sitting down. There are some panels that benefit from the lack of detail, like this one where you focus a lot on Isaac's face expressions and shit. Stuff where it's focusing on one person makes the most sense, but regular conversations and shit feel dead when having no background art. The whole guild interaction with him siding himself up, and him meeting his guildmates felt really lacking. It didn't feel like a guild setting, it just felt like niggas talking. The only reason I could kind of put in that setting is because I've seen lots of shit where people are in guilds. Having some tables and people having beer and shit in the background could go a long way for immersion. I know I kinda sound like I'm talking out of my ass like I wrote my own manga or something. I'm just saying shit from my perspective, as someone who likes certain things in manga and dislikes other things. It was a good first chapter overall, but it'll be better in the future if you focus on these things. If you enjoyed, go watch some of my other shit. That's all I have to say though. Peace.